If you're anything like me, you see the success of various comic creators on their crowdfunding projects. You look at that and say, hey, I've got a story to tell. I want to try that. Well, good for you. That's the first step. My name's Preston Poulter, and I've set out to do exactly that. In this series of videos, I'm going to share my experiences with you, my successes, my failures, in the hopes that you will learn and be able to apply these lessons for yourself. Hey everyone, so today I'm doing a follow-up video on the Rags comic controversy. I did one before, but since then, a interview live stream came out on YouTube between Nick from Key Collector Comics and two of the comic creators of Rags, Brian and Trent. I'm not sure the last name there. I'll put a link in the description if you want to see that. It's an hour-long video, but I'm just going to summarize the events here, not because it's necessarily the biggest thing to talk about, because I think it does highlight some problems in indie comic distribution and some pitfalls, and I think it might be beneficial if we looked at this and how this might be avoided when, say, somebody out there listening makes the next hot comic book. All right, so as best I can put together a timeline, the Rags comic was launched earlier this year. It got picked up by Antarctic Press out of Texas, of the Mark Wade, Richard C. Meyer lawsuit fame, and apparently the first printing of Rags just flew off the shelves. And that's a great problem to have as a comic creative team, although it did create problems in distribution, which I'm going to talk about, because they were looking to Antarctic to be their comic distributors. But, the first printing was pretty much gone, and then I'm probably sure the second printing, which probably had to come from China, probably a lag of a few weeks there. And so, there was a big demand for the comic, which was basically out of print. And then, meanwhile, the Rags creative team was inviting people to come, patronize them on Patreon. And if you did support them on Patreon, they would provide a link for you to go to Indie Planet and, you could print on demand your own stuff. And in fact, at a certain reward tier, you got an exclusive cover. And, cool. But this created a problem that they didn't anticipate. And that's that you could have, say, an enterprising patron print the book on demand and then go to eBay and sell it. And in fact, apparently one of the print-on-demand links allowed you to print up like 5 at a 25% discount or something like that. And the comment made by the Rags creative team was perfect for resellers, so to a certain extent they kind of have to accept some responsibility for what happened. The thing is that neither the Rags creative team nor Antarctic Press was really marketing the comic book on eBay. And, for Avalanche, that may have been because they don't deal with eBay, or it may have been simply because they were waiting for, the book to come back, from the printer. But either way, people were able to print the comic on demand using the link provided through the Patreon and then sell it on eBay for like $500. And this is a foreseeable thing happening. I've sold stuff on eBay, Etsy, Amazon. I've seen the price differentials that can happen on the same product between, even different listings on eBay. And particularly when you've got, a comic that's got some good press on it, if it's simply not available on eBay and, someone throws up an auction for a comic they printed off for $5 and it goes to $500, well, someone's going to do that again. And if you didn't want that to happen, you needed to kind of step in and provide the comics to eBay yourself. And now, all right, I understand maybe some reticence to want to do that, but if you got to be one of two minds on this thing. You got to be either completely hands off, in which case, wow, someone was printing them off of my Patreon, a link from Indie Planet, and then flipping them on eBay, and good for them. Or you got to really go, well, I'm going to step into this void here, and I'm going to say, okay, Avalanche is going to take care of my diamond distribution through comic book stores, but I'm going to self-distribute the comic book through eBay. Now, the other thing is, well, if you're printing it up at Indie Planet, then, you're going to be paying full retail, even as the comic creator probably. But, there's a printer I use out of Michigan, Greco Printing, and, they can turn around a book, like get it in my hands in Texas 1 week after I turn in an order from them for a brand new comic as far as they're concerned. So you can, and that you're paying less than retail. So you can easily, get, a small print order from Greco, like 20, 50, 100, in order to meet the eBay demands so that you're keeping your customers happy and you're getting your comic out there and everyone's pleased. And in doing this, I do have to say I really haven't done much on eBay because I figure, well, White Lily isn't that big a name. If you heard about it, you probably heard about it from me, and if you heard about it from me, you probably got my comic book already. And if not, well, get on my mailing list, and then the next time I'm going to do a crowdfund, you can get White Lily then. But the more I thought about it in preparation for making this video, I'm like, well, I don't want to be a hypocrite. So I went up on eBay last night and I listed White Lily 1 and 2. And within like an hour, I sold White Lily 1 and 2. I didn't expect anyone to really buy that, because who's going to be searching for it? But maybe people search for World War II historical stuff. And also on eBay, it has different categories. So people may have, highlights on World War II historical comics. Anything that comes in that category they want to see. That's one thing you can do on eBay. You can put alerts for whenever something new comes in that category. So, look, you make some sales, and making sales, that's part of the comic creator business. So I feel, as comic creators, we need to take responsibility for our distribution, particularly when we're out there on the road, we're selling comics. We need to let people know how they can get my comic. And people ask me all the time, how can I get White Lily? And now I'm going to be able to tell them, hey, just look for it on eBay. Amazon is a pain in the butt. On eBay, I'm pretty sure we all know how to do an eBay listing, right? You just go, create listing, and then you just type in the description. Amazon, that's more of a pain in the butt. You got to have typically a book number, an ISBN, an International Standard Book Number, which are pricey. Those things are not cheap. I mean, if you buy them in bulk, the cheapest, if you buy 1,000 ISBN numbers, which is more than any comic publisher, any small indie comic publisher is ever going to need, they work out to be like $15 each. But if you're only buying one, it's like north of $100, I believe. So, whereas UPCs, a Universal Product Code, you can get those off eBay really cheap. So you want to list a book with a UPC code, because then you get the barcode scanner, which, by the way, when you're printing up your comic book, try and have a barcode on it. It makes the comic book stores happy, makes it easy for their systems. But you can't list it on Amazon under UPC. If you're listing a comic book, then they're going to want an International Standard Book Number. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So, and not to mention, Amazon's going to take more of a percentage of the sale than would eBay. If you're just a new eBay seller, a lot of times they let you list stuff for free if it doesn't sell. That's how eBay kind of tries to get you, is they provide the first few sales every month for free. In which case, as a small indie comic creator, well, perfect. Then you can just create listings, throw them out there. You're not paying anything. If someone buys your book, awesome. If someone asks where they can get your book, you can just direct them to eBay, and you're done. So for me, the rags controversy kind of shows the problems that come about if you ignore distribution. But the problem there with those guys is it wasn't that they were ignoring distribution. It's that they were preferring to use a distribution channel people weren't used to, which is Patreon. You don't think of going to Patreon and saying, hey, I want to, I want to support this patron in order to get a comic book. Typically you think, I want to pay $5, whatever the price is for a comic book. I just want the one book to read. I don't want to engage in a monthly subscription where I'm going to need to pay month after month to support a guy. I want to read the comic. I want to go, I want to buy it, I want to read it. In which case now you're looking at eBay or Amazon. So if you're a comic book creator and you think, well, I'm going to distribute through this marketing channel over here that people aren't really used to or familiar with, you gotta expect the consequences for somebody stepping into that void and printing it off of the Patreon link and then flipping it back onto eBay. If you want to solve that problem, you need to step into eBay yourself. Of course, I don't know what the contract specified between the Rags team and Anarctic Press. It could be that they weren't allowed to sell it on eBay. Although, it makes me wonder, well, why would they sell them on Patreon? But if they were concerned about the situation, I'm pretty sure they could have reached out to Anarctic and go, the price is getting a little crazy here. Can we maybe reach an agreement where we could sell it on eBay for like $10 a copy or something? And I don't think any distributor is going to really balk at somebody selling at double retail. There were ways to solve that problem. Anyway, my crowdfunding campaign for Guinevere and the Divinity Factory is wrapping up in a few days. I'd encourage you to take a look at that if you haven't already. And other than that, I look forward to all the comments from comic fans and creators. Talk to you later. Bye.